Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on orientation does not equal onboarding. Just wanted to again thank everybody for coming this morning here. On the left-hand side of the webinar window, you should see some information on questions. So please feel free to ask any questions throughout the webinar here. Should last about anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll try to answer some of the questions near the end. So let's get started. So what we're covering today is what is orientation versus onboarding? Why is it important? What does a good onboarding look like? And then again, at the end, we'll answer some questions. So why orientation versus onboarding? Why are we discussing this topic? I'll get into some more of the specifics later, but essentially I wanted to have this conversation with business leaders, business owners, and HR professionals so that they understand that a true onboarding process is much more than just a simple orientation. And it's something that through the audits that I've done, I've noticed that a lot of organizations have a great orientation process, but their onboarding process lacks. And so I wanted to give everyone an opportunity to understand kind of a little what it looks like to have a good onboarding process, and again, why it's important. So we'll start with kind of the differences between the two. The goal of the orientation is to get you on the payroll, signed up for benefits, and to give you a brief overview of the company's culture, products, and values. Whereas the goal of the onboarding is to make the potential employee feel that they want to work here. Onboarding is an ongoing process of building engagement from the first contact until the employee becomes established within the organization. So why is that important? It says right there, building that engagement. We've seen multiple studies that indicate a strong and engaged employee is more productive and has a higher retention within the organization. So it's critical that organizations focus on the onboarding process in order to retain and increase their productivity. So why is the orientation important? Number one, we need to fill out the forms. There are some legal obligations. We need to get their information and get them into our systems, essentially. The next is kind of reviewing the human resources and health and safety requirements. So we've got the training aspects, making sure that they understand their roles and responsibilities within the organization. So why is onboarding important? Organizations with a strong onboarding process improve new hire retention by 82% and productivity by over 70%. This was a study done back in 2015 by the Brandon Hall Group. So again, improving new hire retention by 82% and productivity by over 70% is huge when we're looking at getting that new employee into our organization quicker and getting, again, their productivity at a higher rate sooner. A study done in 2018 by Digitate states that employees who had a negative new hire onboarding experience are 2 times more likely to look for new opportunities in their near future. So anybody who's gone through the hiring process before understands that these are critical. Having turnover in positions is very detrimental to the objectives of the organization. So if we can reduce that by having a strong onboarding process, that's going to be important. So again, what does a good onboarding process look like? Actually, we start with all the different elements. And again, we've got the paperwork. So that's one part of the entire orientation, the onboarding process is that paperwork component of it. And this is a very important process. We want to make sure that have someone that they can discuss the different areas that they may have questions about, how to navigate the different areas of the organization. So mentorship is a very key, important part to the onboarding process. Next is career focus. Again, this is where we talk about what type of career options are within the organization and focus on more than just this is a day job. This is something that you do to collect a paycheck. Again, we're focusing on the opportunities for that individual within the organization. Next is the processes. So new hires need to be aware of the different flow. So let's say, for example, expense reporting. Employees, this is quite often something that is followed up with after the fact. Employees are confused by the process. If we can have these processes documented and given to the new hire so they understand what those processes are. That will help with our onboarding process. Next element is training. And again, this is a very key important part of our onboarding process is the training aspect. This includes everything from, how to use a particular software, how to use a piece of a tool or equipment properly. So having that training aspect to it, again, is key. The last one is follow-up. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we are getting the feedback from those new hires to make sure that they understand what those are. So you might be asking yourself, where do I start? Basically, step number one is have a plan. It's important that you have a plan for your onboarding process and have this clearly documented even before the new hire starts. Even before you've even selected a candidate, have a plan on how you're going to integrate this individual into the organization. So different steps are what needs to be done, who will do it, and when will it happen. This includes things like training, documentation, mentorship, follow-up, things like your IT. So if they need passwords, emails, if they need access to different accounts, you have a plan on who's going to do it and when they're going to do it. So what this looks like is can be a checklist like this. So things like the company intranet, who's responsible for training on that? The manager. And when is it going to happen? Going to happen day one. WMIS training, who's going to do it? Safety is going to do it. And when's going to happen? Day one. Sales program, the manager is responsible for training on that. And when is it going to happen? Day two. I have a template for a new onboarding checklist, I call it. I'll send it out to the participants, and I'll have this available for download as well, so that you have just an idea that you can integrate these different items in your organization. Step number two, make sure you are both ready for day one. This includes making sure that they know where to park, where to go, who to ask for, what to bring, safety gear, tools, void check, social insurance number, etc. I can't tell you how many times a new hire has shown up with different organizations I've worked for in the past, and they don't know, they don't have their social insurance number, their void check, and you're busy tracking those pieces down, sometimes days, weeks later, and trying to get them onto their payroll. So it's important that they know what to bring on their first day. Make sure you have their IT assets ready, including computer logins. Make sure you turn on the computer and make sure it works. Again, nothing is more frustrating to a new hire when they have to sit there and they really have nothing to work on. It's because IT hasn't been informed that they need to get all these logins ready. And so you're basically wasting time for that new hire. And it really just makes a negative new hire experience. Also, things like printing off their forms, have their business cards ready, have some swag ready for that new hire. Nothing says welcome to the team like having a T-shirt or a new hat for that new hire to say, hey, I'm part of the team now. And having their business cards there, it just lets them know that that you were committed to this, and lets them know that you're a value to them. You are value to yourself. They are value to you as an organization. And then lastly, assign a buddy, someone to mentor the new hire. So again, this is someone that could be a peer that they could go to for different information. If they don't know where to access something, that they can go and talk to this peer about that information. The next step is welcome them to the team. Have the employees' managers meet them at the door, introduce them to their team and give them the grand tour. Make the employee feel comfortable. Again, this is important. There's lots of nerves with starting a new job or new role. Make sure that they feel comfortable and that they, again, feel part of that team. Take them out for lunch and then start to begin that paperwork process with that new hire. Step number 4, discuss the plan. Again, review the training and onboarding plan with the new hire. Introduce them to their mentor and describe their role. Discuss how their role fits into the overall organization and its impact. Make the connection between the onboarding plan and the job description. So again, that's where you can pull out that onboarding plan, that checklist, and review it with them to make sure that they understand kind of what the plan is, so they're not left wondering, when am I going to learn about this software or this program, and when is this going to happen? They at least know the plan, and they can have it actually reviewed with them on day one. Let them flourish. Ensure that the training goals are being met. So again, this is you walk away, let them do what they need to do. So you can help coordinate the software, processes, systems as far as the training is concerned. Give them the tasks with clear goals and clarity. So again, these are some some of the items that you can give them to get them more familiar with the organization. So give them some tasks they can accomplish easily, and then they get a little more comfortable, a little more confidence behind them in their new role. Touch base throughout the day for the first week. So again, just making sure that you're checking in as the manager or even the human resources department. Make sure that you're checking in, see how they're doing, see if they have any questions. And then create an environment where they feel comfortable, making sure that they feel that they can ask the questions, that they're not intimidated to ask those questions, because that's something that maybe they shouldn't do, or to go for that answer. Some questions to ask are, how are we doing? We do our best to help them plan. You're completing everything that's on your checklist. So that, in a nutshell, is the is a good what it looks and you can to help with fully customized role. Sure you nourish and then solicit the feedback. So that, in summary, onboarding. If there are any questions, please let. Appreciate it. Next. Talk to you soon.